Imagine for a moment that someone walked up to you on the street and stole $20 from your wallet. You would probably be angry, right? You'd chase them, you'd call for help, you'd feel, well, violated.
Of course, you'd feel that loss immediately.
But every single day, something much more valuable than money is being stolen from you.
Something you can't get back.
Exactly. And not only do we let it happen, but we often invite the thief right into our home. We carry the thief around in our pocket.
It's the silent theft of the modern age, isn't it? We're losing hours, not dollars. And like you said, unlike money, you can never, ever earn those hours back.
That is such a terrifying thought. It's that feeling, you sit down to check one notification, just one little ping on your phone.
Yeah, just for a second.
Just for a second, and then suddenly you look up and it's dark outside. You've lost an hour, 2 hours, maybe even more.
And the worst part isn't just the lost time itself.
No.
It's that feeling in your stomach afterwards.
Mm.
That mix of, I don't know, guilt and exhaustion.
Yes. You feel like you've been busy all day, but you haven't actually done anything. Why does that happen? Why does it feel like the harder we run, the further behind we get?
Well, it's the great paradox of our time. We have all these tools that are supposed to save us. Time email, smartphones, instant messaging. Yet we seem to have less free time than ever before.
It feels like we're caught in a trap.
And that is exactly what we are going to explore today. We're going to look at this idea that our lives are running on default settings.
Default settings, like on a new computer.
Exactly like that. A new phone comes with preset ringtones and apps you didn't choose. Our lives have these preset distractions, but, and this is the good news, we can go into the settings menu and change them.
I love that analogy. Changing the default settings of your life. Welcome to Book Bites, a podcast where we discuss a new book every week for English learners to improve their English. I'm your host, and I'm here with our resident expert to walk through these big ideas.
It's wonderful to be here. This is a topic that I think, well, it affects literally everyone. There's no escaping it.
That is so true. Before we get started, I just want to gently remind everyone listening, if you want to get the most out of our conversation today, we've created a special online worksheet just for you.
It's a really helpful tool.
It is. It's designed to help you test your understanding of the vocabulary and the concepts we're about to discuss. You can find the link for it right there in the description box below. So maybe later you can pause and check that out.
Active learning is always better than just passive listening. It helps the ideas stick.
It really does. So today is episode 8 of our series, and we're discussing a book that, well, it might just save your sanity.
A bold claim, but it might be true.
It's called Make Time by Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. Now, when I first picked this up, I have to admit, I thought, oh no, not another productivity book.
They had the same reaction.
I thought it was going to tell me to wake up at 4 a.m., drink a raw egg, and run a marathon before breakfast.
The whole hustle culture, definitely not that.
Thank goodness. But what makes this book really stand out, for me at least, are the authors. Jake Knapp and John Zeratsky. They aren't just, random writers.
No, they're insiders. That's the key.
Insiders. Explain what that means.
Well, these two men spent years working at Google. They were in you could say, the belly of the beast.
Wow.
Jake Knapp helped create the design process for products like Gmail. John Zeratsky worked on YouTube. They were part of the very teams that designed the technologies that are, that are distracting us right now.
That is almost scary. It's like the people who built a casino are now selling a book on how to avoid gambling.
That is a perfect way to put it. But it gives them immense credibility, doesn't it?
It really does.
They aren't just guessing why your phone is so addictive. They know exactly why. They sat in the meetings where they discussed how to make it that way. They understand the engineering behind the hook.
So in Make Time, they're essentially showing us how to disconnect from the machines they helped build.
In a way, yes. They're giving us the user manual to take back control.
So let's be very clear about what this book is and what it isn't. You said it's not about hustle.
Right. Most productivity books are about efficiency. They're about how to cram more tasks into the same 24 hours. It's all about speed.
Doing more, faster.
Exactly. Make Time is different. It is not about doing more work. It's about doing the right work. And more importantly, it's about slowing down enough to actually enjoy the life you are living.
That sounds much more human, much more appealing. I think we are all tired of just trying to run faster on the treadmill.
We are.
So let's start with the diagnosis. The book identifies 2 massive forces that are stealing our time. They have these great names for them: the busy bandwagon and the infinity pools.
Yes, these are the 2 villains of the story, the 2 main enemies of our time.
Let's start with the first one, the busy bandwagon. Now, for our English learners, a bandwagon is, well, it's literally a wagon that carries a band in a parade.
And the idiom, jumping on the bandwagon, means doing something just because it's popular, because everyone else is doing it.
Right. So what is the busy bandwagon?
It's the culture of constant busyness. It is that societal pressure that tells us that if we aren't busy, we are lazy or unimportant.
I feel this so deeply. If I run into a friend and they ask, how are you doing? The standard answer is always, oh, I'm so busy, just, crazy busy.
It's almost a badge of honor, isn't it? A status symbol. If you replied, actually, I have a lot of free time and I'm feeling very relaxed, people might look at you strangely.
They would. They might think you're unemployed or not ambitious enough. That is the bandwagon.
It's this pervasive mindset that says constant motion is the only way to be a valuable person, that a full calendar equals a full life.
But it doesn't. The authors have this great analogy for it. They compare it to being in a car traveling at 120 kilometers per hour that never, ever stops.
You're just zooming past the scenery of your own life. You see glimpses of it, but you never actually get to experience it.
And the engine of this car, the thing that keeps it going so fast, is guilt.
Guilt is the fuel. Absolutely. Even when you finish your work for the day, the bandwagon makes you feel like you should be doing more.
Oh, yes. You sit down to read a book for fun, and that little voice in your head starts whispering.
It does. It says, you should be checking your email. You should be organizing that closet. There are 10 other productive things you could be doing right now.
It makes it almost impossible to truly relax because relaxation feels like a waste.
So that's the first enemy. This internal and external pressure to always be doing tasks.
Now, let's talk about the second enemy, the infinity pools. This one sounds quite pleasant, like something at a fancy vacation resort.
It sounds nice, doesn't it? But it's actually incredibly dangerous for our attention span.
So what is an infinity pool?
An infinity pool is any app, website, or service that has an endless, bottomless supply of content.
Endless, meaning you can never, ever reach the bottom. You can never finish it.
Precisely. Think about the news feed on your phone or a video streaming site. You can scroll down and down and down, and it just keeps loading more.
Does a message ever pop up that says, congratulations, you have seen everything on the internet?
Never. And it never will. You pull down to refresh, and boom, 10 news stories appear. It's like a slot machine in a casino.
That's a powerful comparison, a slot machine.
Well, the comparison is not an accident. That pull to refresh action, where you drag your finger down and wait to see what you get, it's been designed to trigger the same part of your brain as a gambler pulling the lever on a slot machine.
Really?
Yes, it's called a variable reward. Maybe you'll get a boring work email, or maybe you'll get an exciting message from a friend. You don't know, so you keep pulling the lever, you keep refreshing.
And the authors have a name for these infinity pools. They call them distraction kryptonite.
Right. For anyone who knows the Superman story, kryptonite is the one substance, the green rock, that makes Superman lose all his power. He's invincible, except for this one thing.
So the authors are saying that no matter how strong or disciplined you think you are, these apps are your kryptonite.
They render you powerless. You cannot fight them with willpower alone.
I think that is where I always fail, and where a lot of people fail. I tell myself, okay, today I'll just be stronger. I just won't look at my phone so much.
And how long does that last?
10 minutes, maybe 20 if I'm lucky. And then I find myself scrolling, and I feel like a failure.
But the authors want us to know, it is not your fault. You are not a failure. You are bringing a stick to a tank battle.
A stick to a tank battle.
On the other side of that screen, there are literally thousands of the smartest engineers and psychologists in the world. Their full-time job is to break your willpower. You cannot win that fight just by trying harder.
So we're caught in this horrible tug of war. The busy bandwagon pulls us in one direction. It's all stress, work, guilt, deadlines.
And when we get exhausted from all that pulling, we let go of the rope and we fall backward, right into an infinity pool.
So we fall into distraction, scrolling, zoning out, just to escape the stress.
But then what happens? We feel guilty for wasting time in the infinity pool, so we jump back on the busy bandwagon to feel productive again.
It's this endless cycle, bouncing back and forth between stress and mindless distraction.
And in the middle of that big empty space between the two, our actual life disappears.
Wow. That's a depressing picture, but it feels incredibly accurate. So the solution isn't more willpower, it has to be a system.
Correct. We need to redesign the environment so that we don't need willpower in the first place. We need to change the default settings.
Before we get into that system, I just want to pause for a second. If you're finding this breakdown helpful, or if you recognize yourself in that stress and scroll cycle we just described.
And I think most of us do.
I think so too. Please consider subscribing to the podcast and hitting that notification bell. It really helps us grow the show, and it means you won't miss our future deep dives.
We have some really interesting books coming up, so you'll definitely want to stay tuned.
Okay, so let's talk about The Cure. The book introduces a framework. But one thing I really appreciated is that they don't say you must follow these 10 commandments exactly.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
They use a really nice cooking analogy.
Right.
They say make time is not a recipe, it is a cookbook.
Not a recipe, but a cookbook. What's the difference?
Well, think about a recipe for a cake. It's rigid. It's step 1, step 2, step 3. You need exactly 2 cups of flour. If you miss an ingredient or do a step out of order, the whole dish can be ruined.
Okay, that makes sense.
But a cookbook is different. It's full of options. You flip through it and you say, I don't really like mushrooms, so I won't make that recipe. But, ooh, I love chicken, so I'll try this one tonight.
So we have agency. We have choice. We can pick what works for our own personality and our own life.
Exactly. The book offers 87 different tactics. You're not supposed to do all 87 of them. That would be overwhelming.
It would be another to-do list.
Right. You're supposed to browse them, pick 1 or 2 that look interesting, test them out, and keep what works for you. It's all about experimentation.
But there is a structure to hold all these tactics together, a daily loop.
Yes, a very simple 4-step loop that you repeat every day. Step 1 is highlight.
Highlight.
Step 2 is laser.
Laser.
Step 3 is energize.
Energize.
And the final step, step 4, is reflect.
Highlight. Laser. Energize. Reflect. Okay, let's break this down step by step, starting with number 1. The highlight. They call this the offense part of the day.
Right. The concept of the highlight is, on the surface, deceptively simple. The authors ask you to choose 1 single activity to prioritize and protect in your calendar each day.
Just 1. Okay, I have to be the skeptic here for a minute. Most people I know have a to-do list with 20, maybe 30 items on it. If I only pick 1 when I get fired, won't my house fall apart around me?
It's a very common fear and a valid question. But setting a highlight doesn't mean you only do that 1 thing all day.
Oh.
You will still answer your emails, you will still go to your meetings, you will still do the laundry, but the highlight is the anchor for your day. It's the answer to 1 very important question.
And what's that question?
The question is, when I look back on today, what is the 1 thing I will be happy I accomplished?
I see. So it stops that reactive mode where you're just, putting out fires and answering whoever is yelling the loudest.
Exactly.
It forces you to be proactive, to decide for yourself what is truly important today.
It shifts you from defense to offense. Instead of starting your day by asking, what must I do for other people? You start by asking, what do I want to make time for today?
And how long should this highlight take?
Ideally, about 60 to 90 minutes.
That feels like a realistic amount of time. It's enough to get into some deep, focused work, but it's not so much that you can't find a slot for it, even on a busy day.
Right. It's manageable.
But how do we choose? That's my next question. I struggle with decision fatigue. If I have 10 important tasks, how do I know which one deserves to be the highlight?
Well, the authors provide a really helpful guide for this. They suggest there are 3 different criteria you can use to pick your highlight. It can be based on urgency, satisfaction, or joy.
Urgency, satisfaction, and joy. Okay, let's walk through these. Urgency seems like the most obvious one.
Yes, an urgent highlight is for those days when the busy bandwagon is right behind you, chasing you down.
The stressful days.
The stressful days. Maybe you have a project due tomorrow. Maybe you have to prepare for a big presentation. Maybe you have a tax form that absolutely needs to be filed today.
So it's something with a real deadline and real consequences if you don't do it.
Exactly. And the benefit of making that your highlight is peace of mind. You identify the most stressful thing on your plate, you tackle it first, and you neutralize that threat. The rest of the day feels lighter.
That makes sense. But you don't want every day to be an urgent highlight.
No, absolutely not. That's just living in constant crisis mode, which leads to the second criteria, satisfaction.
This one feels a little more subtle. What counts as a satisfying highlight?
These are the things that are important, but not urgent. The things you want to do, but nobody's really forcing you to do them.
Can you give some examples?
Sure. It could be something like finally cleaning out the garage, or writing a proposal for a new project at work that you're excited about, or maybe spending an hour practicing a new language.
So it's all the things that usually get pushed to the bottom of the to-do list week after week?
Exactly. Because there's no hard deadline, we always tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow.
Yeah.
But if you make clean the garage your highlight for the day, at the end of the day, you feel this immense sense of accomplishment. You feel satisfied. You finally did the thing that was nagging you in the back of your mind.
I like that. Okay, and then there's the third one, joy.
Yes.
Now, I have to admit, when I first read this part of the book, I felt a little bit guilty. Can I really make having fun my #1 priority for the day?
You absolutely can, and you absolutely should. This is the ultimate antidote to the busy bandwagon.
The ultimate weapon against it.
It is. A joy highlight is something you do purely because it makes you happy. There is no other productive reason for it.
Like what, for example?
Oh, it could be anything. It could be baking a cake for your family. It could be going for a long walk to the park without your phone. It could be sitting in a nice cafe and reading a novel for an hour. Or playing a board game with your children.
And the argument here is that this isn't wasting time.
The argument is that this is the entire point of time. Why are we trying to be productive in the first place? Is it just so we can do more work?
I hope not.
Or is it to have a good life? If you never consciously prioritize joy, you might look back on your life in 20 years and realize you were very, very efficient in answering emails, but you missed all the sunsets.
Wow. That hits home. Efficient in answering emails, but missed the sunsets. I think we need to give ourselves permission to waste time on purpose if it brings us joy.
Wasting time on purpose is not wasting time. It is living.
So once we've picked the highlight, whether it's urgent or satisfying or joyful, what's the next tactical step? Do we just kind of hope it happens?
Hope is not a strategy.
No.
You have to make it real. And the first step is to write it down.
Physically write it down.
Yes. The authors suggest keeping a simple notebook or even a sticky note. Write the date at the top and then write highlight your activity.
Yeah.
The simple act of writing it down creates a contract with yourself. It makes it concrete.
And then I assume you put it in your calendar.
Yes. That's the crucial step. You schedule it. Block out that 90-minute slot. Draw a box around that time. Protect it.
Protect it from what?
From other people, from meetings. If someone asks you for a meeting during your highlight time, you say, I'm sorry, I have a conflict then.
You don't have to tell them the conflict is reading a book in the park.
No, of course not. I have a conflict is a complete sentence. You just have to honor the appointment you made with yourself.
I love that. An appointment with yourself. I'm going to ask our listeners to pause for just a moment here. I want you to think about your day-to-day. If you could pick one highlight, just one thing to make today feel like a success, what would it be? Is it urgent? Is it satisfying? Or is it joyful? Go ahead and leave a comment below and let us know. It is genuinely inspiring to see what you all come up with.
I love reading those comments. It's a reminder of how diverse our priorities in our lives are.
It is. Okay, so we've set our intention. We have our offense for the day. Now we have to move to step 2. Laser. This is the defense.
Because the very moment you sit down to do your highlight, the world is going to try to stop you.
It's true.
Your phone will buzz, an email will pop up, your mind will wander to something else. Laser mode is all about creating barriers and blocking those distractions so you can focus like a laser beam.
This goes right back to that idea of changing the default settings. We need to change our environment so that distraction becomes hard and focus becomes easy.
Exactly.
So what are some of the best tactics from the book for this?
There are so many good ones, but let's focus on a few that give you the biggest return on your investment. The first one is, for many people, quite controversial. It's called skip the morning check-in.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Most of us, myself included, we wake up, turn off the alarm on our phone, and immediately open social media or email. It's a reflex.
It is a habit, but it's a deeply destructive one. Think about what's happening biologically. You wake up, your brain is, hopefully, rested. It's a blank slate, it's calm. And the very first thing you do is flood it with a fire hose of information, stress, other people's demands, and often bad news from around the world.
It's like opening your front door and letting a chaotic crowd of 100 strangers run into your house before you've even had a chance to brush your teeth.
That is a perfect image for it. It completely scrambles your brain. You start the day in reactive mode from the very first minute.
So the tactic is just wait.
Just wait. Give yourself 30 minutes, or if you can, an hour before you look at any screen. Have your breakfast, talk to your family, look out the window, just let your brain wake up naturally and calmly.
I tried this recently for a few days, and it felt very strange at first. I felt that twitch, that I'm missing something important feeling.
The fear of missing out.
Exactly. But after about 20 minutes, I felt this calmness that I usually just don't have in the mornings.
That calmness is focus. It is the fuel for your laser mode later in the day. You're preserving it.
Okay, another concept they talk about is avoiding time craters. I love this vocabulary. It sounds so dramatic. What is a time crater?
This is such a crucial concept to understand. Imagine you are working on your highlight. You're focused, you're in the zone. Then you decide to check your favorite social media app for just 30 seconds.
Just a quick peek. We've all been there.
You might think you only lost 30 seconds of your time, but you didn't. You created a crater. A crater, like from a meteor, is a big hole. Because when you switch tasks like that, your brain has what's called a switching cost. It takes a lot of time and mental energy to get back to that same level of deep focus you had before.
And often that 30-second check isn't 30 seconds.
That's the other part of the crater. You see an interesting link, you click it, you see a funny video, you watch it, you fall down a rabbit hole. Suddenly 30 minutes have vanished into thin air.
So the distraction isn't just the time you're spent looking at the distraction. It's the giant hole it blew in your momentum and focus.
Precisely. It breaks your flow state. And getting back into that state takes a huge amount of energy. So the goal of laser mode is to prevent the crater from ever happening in the first place.
And one of the best ways to do that is another tactic they mention: turn distractions into tools. This is about adding friction, right?
Yes, exactly. Friction. In most areas of life, we want to remove friction to make things easier. But here, with distractions, we want to add friction to make them harder to access.
So how do we do that, practically speaking?
You can start with an audit of your phone. Look at every single app on your home screen and ask yourself a simple question. Does this app serve me, or do I serve it?
That's a good question.
If it's an app you only use to waste time, an infinity pool, delete it.
Just delete it. That sounds a little extreme. What if I need it sometimes?
If deleting it is too scary, then just log out of it. Or bury it in a folder on the last page of your phone. Or, even better, take it off your phone completely and only use the website version on your computer.
So you're making it inconvenient.
You are. If you have to walk over to your laptop, open it, type in the website, log in, and wait for it to load just to check a social media feed, you probably won't do it every 5 minutes.
You've turned it from an always-on distraction back into a tool that you use intentionally.
You're back in control.
I did this with my email. I deleted the email app from my phone. Now, I only check email on my desktop computer a few times a day. And guess what?
What happened?
The world didn't end. Nobody got angry. Everything was fine.
It's a huge realization for people. We think we need to be available 24/7, but usually things can wait a few hours.
Speaking of email, the authors have a great tactic called schedule email time.
Yes. Instead of having that inbox tab open all day long, constantly tempting you.
Right.
They say you should treat email like you treat laundry.
Laundry.
You don't wash every single sock the moment you take it off your foot, do you?
No, that would be crazy.
You wait until you have a pile, and then you do one big load of laundry. You should do the same thing with email. You let them pile up, and then you process them all at once. You batch it.
And they suggest doing it at a specific time of day.
Ideally, at the end of the day.
Why the end of the day? Most people I know do it first thing in the morning.
Because your brain energy, your willpower, your focus, it's like a battery. In the morning, your battery is full. It's at 100%.
Okay.
You should use that precious, high-quality energy for your highlight, your most important, creative, or difficult work. Email is usually administrative. It's responding to other people's priorities. It doesn't require your genius.
So save your genius for yourself for your highlight.
And give your tired afternoon brain to the email inbox.
That is such a smart way to think about managing your daily energy. Okay, one more laser tactic. What if my highlight is just too big? What if I chose write a big report, but I'm just staring at the blank page because I'm overwhelmed and scared?
Procrastination. It's usually just fear in disguise. The task feels too heavy to even lift. The tactic here is to explode the highlight.
Explode it, like with dynamite.
In a way. You break it down into tiny, ridiculously small pieces.
So write report is too big.
Way too big. So you make the first mini highlight, open the laptop. That's it. Once that's done, the next one is open the document, then type the title, then write one sentence.
You're making the barrier to entry so low that it's almost impossible to fail.
Exactly. It's basic physics. An object at rest tends to stay at rest. You just need a tiny push to get it moving. Once you start writing even one sentence, Momentum usually takes over.
I want to gently remind everyone about the worksheet in the description box again. We have a section in there specifically on these laser tactics with vocabulary like time craters and friction. It's really useful for practicing how to describe your own work habits in English.
Definitely check that out. Being able to explain why you are getting distracted is the first step to actually fixing the problem.
So we have the offense, which is the highlight. We have the defense, which is laser mode. But we are not robots. We're not just brains in jars. We are biological machines. We need fuel.
We do. And that brings us to the very important step 3, energize.
This is the step that I feel most productivity advice completely misses.
I agree. You can manage your time perfectly. You can block every distraction. But if your brain is foggy and your body is exhausted, you still won't get anything done. You need energy to power your focus.
The authors have a very fun theory here. They call it the prehistoric human thesis.
Yes. The core idea is that biologically, our bodies haven't changed much in the last 10,000 years. We are still, in many ways, cavemen and cavewomen.
Okay.
Our bodies are built for a world of constant movement, simple, natural food, and lots of sunlight. But we live in a world of chairs, processed sugar, and glowing blue screens.
So we're cavemen living in a science fiction movie, and it's making us sick and tired.
That's a perfect summary of it. So the energize step is all about treating your body more like the prehistoric machine it actually is, not the modern robot we pretend it is. They outline 6 pillars of energy to help us do that.
Let's run through these pillars because they're so simple but so powerful. Pillar number 1 is keep moving.
And this is important. This doesn't mean you need to join a gym or start running marathons. In fact, they argue that over-exercising can sometimes drain you of energy you need for mental work.
So what do they recommend?
Simply walking. Just 20, 30 minutes of walking every single day.
Just walking, that's it.
That's it. Walking oxygenates the brain. It clears the mind. If you're stuck on a problem at your desk, staring at the computer screen harder won't help. Go for a walk. It's almost magic how movement unlocks new ideas.
Pillar number 2. Eat real food. Now, obviously, we're not going to give specific diet advice here, but the principle is very simple.
The principle is eat food that looks like plants or animals. No. Try to avoid food that comes in a box with a long list of chemical ingredients you can't pronounce. The authors talk about how processed food, especially sugary food, gives you a sugar spike, a quick burst of energy, which is always followed by a crash that leaves you feeling tired and foggy.
So you want steady energy.
You want steady energy, like a log burning slowly on a fire, not like a piece of paper that flares up and then is gone in a second.
Okay, now pillar number 3. This is the one where I learned the most, personally. It's optimize caffeine. I love coffee. I thought I needed my morning coffee the second I woke up, but apparently I've been drinking at the wrong time my entire life.
This is based on some fascinating science.
Yeah.
It's all about a hormone called cortisol.
Cortisol.
Cortisol is a natural hormone your body produces that helps you wake up. When you first wake up in the morning, your cortisol levels naturally spike. It's like your body's built-in alarm clock and energy drink.
So I am naturally caffeinated at 7 a.m.
In a way, yes. Your body is already giving you a boost. So if you drink coffee at 7 a.m., you are essentially pouring caffeine on top of cortisol.
Which seems like a waste.
It doesn't help you much, and it just builds up your tolerance to caffeine over time. You're wasting the coffee's effect.
So when should I drink my first coffee?
You should wait until your natural cortisol levels start to drop. For most people, that happens about 90 minutes to 2 hours after waking up.
So if I wake up at 7, Lever, I should have my first coffee around 9:30 a.m.
Exactly. That is when you'll actually feel the boost you're looking for.
That requires a lot of patience, but it makes scientific sense. And they also suggest a caffeine curfew.
Yes. The rule of thumb is no coffee after 2:00 p.m.
2:00 p.m. That feels very early, especially if you have an afternoon slump.
It does feel early, but caffeine has what's called a half-life. It stays in your system for a very long time. If you drink a cup of coffee at 4 p.m., a significant amount of that caffeine is still in your bloodstream at 10 p.m. when you're trying to go to sleep.
So even if I fall asleep, it's affecting my sleep quality.
It is. It prevents you from getting that deep restorative sleep you need. So you wake up feeling tired, and then you need more coffee to get going. It's a vicious cycle.
Okay, now, pillar number 4, go off the grid.
This is simply about giving your brain a break from constant input. Just disconnect completely.
Yeah.
Leave your phone at home and go to a park. Or just sit in a quiet room for 15 minutes. We are so used to constant noise and information that silence feels uncomfortable at first. But silence is where the brain repairs itself and makes new connections.
Pillar number 5, Make it personal. This is about human connection.
Yes. Spending quality time with people you care about, your family, your friends, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, releases neurochemicals that boost your mood and your energy.
And the important qualifier there is without screens.
That is the key. If you are sitting with your friend but you are both looking down at your phones, that does not count. It might even drain your energy. It has to be real, present connection.
And finally, pillar number 6, love the name of this one, sleep in a cave.
It's a great image, isn't it? Our bedrooms should be like caves.
Hmm.
What are the properties of a cave?
Dark, cool, and quiet.
Exactly. But what are our modern bedrooms like? They're more like airplane cockpits. We have blinking lights from the television, the glowing alarm clock, the street lights coming through the window.
And the worst offender of all, the smartphone glowing on the nightstand right next to our pillow.
That's one. It's the blue light.
Yes, the blue light is the problem. Blue light has a similar frequency to sunlight, so when you are looking at your phone screen at 11 p.m. in a dark room, you are sending a direct signal to your brain that says, it is noon, wake up, it's the middle of the day.
And so your brain gets confused.
It gets very confused. It stops producing melatonin, which is the key hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. So how do we make our bedroom into a cave? What are the tactics?
Tactic number 1 is the most important. Get the phone out of the bedroom, full stop, buy a cheap $5 alarm clock, charge your phone in the kitchen or the living room overnight.
Tactic number 2, they say, is to fake the sunset.
I love this one. It means that in the evening, an hour or two before bed, you start dimming the lights in your house. Turn off the big, bright overhead lights. Use warm, soft lamps instead. You're basically signaling to your prehistoric brain that the sun is going down and it's time to wind down.
That no phone in the bedroom rule is a true game changer. It forces you to end the day peacefully, maybe by reading a book instead of with anxious scrolling. If you're enjoying these tips on energy and health, please take a quick moment to like this episode and share it with a friend. I mean, maybe you could share it with that one friend who is always complaining about being tired.
We all know someone like that. Or let's be honest, maybe we are that person sometimes.
Very true. So, to recap, we have highlight, laser, and energize. We have a plan, we have focus, and we have the physical energy to execute it. Are we done? Is that the whole system?
Not quite. There's one final crucial step, and it's the one most people skip. Step 4, reflect.
The scientific method part of the process.
Yes. The authors emphasize that you can't just follow a set of rules blindly and hope for the best. You have to be a scientist of your own life. You have to observe and track the data.
So this is a kind of daily check-in with yourself.
Exactly. At the end of the day, maybe just before you go to sleep, take 2 minutes, just 2 minutes, and ask yourself a few simple questions.
What are questions?
First, did I make time for my highlight today? Second, how was my focus, my laser mode? Third, how was my energy level? And then the most important question of all, what new tactic did I try today and did it work for me?
I really like this because it removes the judgment. For example, if I tried skipping my morning coffee and I got a terrible headache and was grumpy all day.
You didn't fail.
Right, I didn't fail, I just gathered some data.
Precisely. You ran an experiment and the result was that tactic doesn't work for you right now. So maybe tomorrow you go back to having coffee, but you try a different tactic, like turning off notifications.
It encourages you to keep experimenting, to keep tweaking, until you build a system that fits your unique life, your unique personality, and your unique job.
It is all about self-compassion, not perfection. It's not about having a perfect day every day. It's about learning and adjusting.
I think that's the most important message in the whole book. It's not about becoming a perfect, productive robot. It's about being a human being, but a more intentional human being.
Yes. It is about consciously stepping off the conveyor belt of modern life and choosing your own direction.
So we have been on quite a journey today. We started with the default settings that run our lives, the busy bandwagon and the infinity pools.
And we talked about how we're constantly pulled between the anxiety of having too much to do and the empty distraction of our devices.
Then we laid out the 4-step framework to escape that cycle. The highlight, choosing one single priority to anchor your day and give it meaning.
The laser, defending your precious attention from the kryptonite of distracting apps and notifications.
Energize, fueling your ancient, prehistoric body so it can thrive in the modern world.
And finally, reflect. Looking back at the end of each day, not to judge, but to learn and improve the system for tomorrow.
It sounds like a lot when you list it all out, but I think it's important to remember that cookbook analogy.
Yes. You don't have to do it all at once. Just pick one thing. Maybe tomorrow, your only goal is to choose and write down a highlight. That's it.
Or maybe you just try one tiny tactic, like charging your phone in the kitchen tonight instead of next to your bed.
Small, consistent changes accumulate over time. If you can reclaim even 30 or 60 minutes a day, that adds up to weeks of extra life over a few years.
Weeks that you can spend on things that actually matter to you, not just on scrolling or answering emails.
And that is what it is all about. Designing your time rather than letting your time be designed for you by other people and by technology companies.
You have the right to design your time.
Absolutely.
I have one final challenge for our listeners before we sign off. We talked about the 4 steps: highlight, laser, energize, and reflect. Which one of these do you think is the weak link in your life right now? Are you great at managing your energy but terrible at focus? Are you always busy but you never stop to set a real highlight? Let us know in the comments below. We read them all, and it really helps us understand what you're struggling with.
And please don't forget, if you want to master the English terms we use today, words like infinity pools, bandwagon, friction, and default settings, please download the free worksheet from the description box. It's a tool to help you practice and improve.
And finally, if you enjoyed this episode and found it useful, please subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episode of Book Bites. Sharing it with a friend is also one of the best ways to support the show.
Thank you so much for listening today. Remember, time is the one resource you can never get back, but you have the power to decide how to spend it. Start making it yours today.
See you next time.